All right, welcome. Today, we're diving deep into the secret ingredient behind some of the world's most incredible machines. You know, the stuff that makes fighter jets, Formula One cars, and even spacecraft a reality. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff, the carbon fiber you can see. I'm talking about the invisible, powerful glue that holds it all together.
I mean, think about it for a second. That's the ultimate engineering puzzle, right? You need the brute strength of steel, but you can't afford the weight. You need the lightness of aluminum, but it's just not strong enough. So where do you even start?
Well, the answer, or at least the beginning of it, lies in what we call composite materials. You take these incredibly strong fibers, like carbon fiber or fiberglass, and they provide all the muscle. But that's really only half the story. Because here's the thing, by themselves, those fibers are basically useless, just a bunch of brittle threads. The real magic, the true unsung hero of this whole operation, is the polymer matrix. This is the glue that transforms those threads into an absolute super material. Okay, so let's really dig into this unsung hero. What exactly is this matrix, and why is it so ridiculously important? You gotta understand, calling the matrix glue is a massive understatement. Yes, of course, it binds the fibers together, but it also has to transfer all the stress and load between every single fiber, keeping them from just bending and breaking. It's what gives the final part its toughness, its ability to take a hit, and, crucially, it determines the absolute maximum temperature the material can handle. Okay, but here's where it gets interesting. Not all these matrix materials are the same, not by a long shot. In fact, they basically fall into two completely different camps. Two different philosophies, really, about how they're made. So on one side, you've got your thermosets. The best way to think about this? It's like baking a cake. You mix your wet ingredients, you put it in the oven, and a chemical reaction happens that turns it into a solid. It's permanent. You can't unbake a cake. On the other side, you have thermoplastics. This is more like melting a chocolate bar. You can melt it, pour it into a mold, let it cool, and if you don't like it, you can just melt it down and do it all over again. Today, we are focusing entirely on the cake, that powerful, permanent world of thermosets. So what is actually going on down at the molecular level? Well, imagine the liquid resin starts out as just a jumble of tiny individual molecular chains, or monomers. The curing process is kind of like knitting. A chemical reaction starts linking all of those little threads together, up, down, left, right, into this dense, three-dimensional network. And here's the mind-blowing part. The final cured part isn't made of trillions of separate molecules anymore. It is one single gigantic molecule. That's where all that incredible strength and stiffness comes from. And that process, that journey from a liquid goo to a rock-solid part, it's a total one-way tip. It starts as a low-viscosity liquid mix. As you add heat, those molecules start linking up, and the whole thing gets thicker and thicker. And then you hit this critical moment. It's called gelation. This is the point of no return. A full network has formed, the material turns into a sort of rubbery gel, and it stops flowing completely. From there, you just keep heating it to lock in all the remaining crosslinks until it's a completely rigid, fully cured structure. Right, so you might be thinking thermoset is just one thing. Nope, it's really a whole category of materials. It's better to think of it as a specialized toolkit, where each type of resin is engineered for a very specific and usually very extreme job.
So let's do a quick rundown of the big players in this toolkit.
You've got epoxies, which are the real workhorses of aerospace. They're strong, they're versatile, they're everywhere. But when things get really hot, like inside a jet engine, you have to step up to something called a bismaleimide, or BMI. And when really hot isn't hot enough for things like supersonic aircraft, you bring out the big guns, polyimides. And then you have a special class, Phenolics, whose superpower is fire resistance. You'll find these in aircraft interiors because when you absolutely can't have a fire, these are what you use. Okay, so these things sound pretty invincible, right? Strong, stiff, can take the heat, but they have a classic Achilles heel. The very same thing that gives them all that strength, that dense, rigid, cross-linked structure, is also the source of their biggest weakness. See, that super rigid structure makes them incredibly brittle. We're talking glassy. So a sharp impact, like a dropped tool on an airplane wing, can cause a disaster. It might not even leave a mark on the surface, but underneath, it can cause the layers of the composite to separate or delaminate. And that kind of hidden damage is incredibly dangerous. And that right there is the million-dollar question for engineers. How in the world do you make these materials tougher and more resistant to impact without giving up the stiffness and the high temperature performance that made you want to use them in the first place?
Luckily, some really smart people have come up with 4 ingenious ways to solve this. They attack the problem from every angle, from the deep chemistry all the way up to the large-scale structure of the material itself. Let's walk through them.
So, strategy number 1, go straight to the source of the problem, that super dense molecular network. By using longer, more flexible molecules between the connection points, you can create a structure that's just a little bit looser. You're essentially giving the network a bit more elbow room, a bit more give, so it can absorb some of that impact energy instead of just shattering.
Okay, this next one is really clever. What if you put tiny, microscopic shock absorbers directly into the resin? That's basically what this is. Engineers mix tiny little particles of rubber into the resin before it's cured. Then, if a tiny crack starts to form, as soon as it hits one of these soft rubber particles, the particle deforms, absorbs the energy, and stops that crack dead in its tracks. All right, now we're getting into some seriously advanced chemistry. Instead of just adding little particles, this approach dissolves a tough thermoplastic polymer, remember the meltable chocolate, right into the liquid thermoset resin. When it cures, the two materials separate into 2 intertwined continuous networks. It's a hybrid. You get the amazing toughness of the thermoplastic, but you keep the high temperature performance of the thermoset. It's the best of both worlds. And the last approach isn't about chemistry at all. It's about clever engineering. Here, you take a super thin layer of a very tough resin and you build it right in between each layer of carbon fiber. So when you stack all the layers up, you've created these built-in barriers, these firewalls that physically prevent a delamination from growing from one layer to the next.
So, we've got this amazing but super complex chemistry. How on earth can you trust it? Especially when you're talking about a part on a jetliner where failure just isn't an option. The answer? Obsessive, relentless quality control. See, a piece of metal, like aluminum, shows up at the factory with its properties already locked in. But with composites, you are literally creating the material at the exact same time you're making the part. That means you have to be absolutely certain that your starting ingredients are perfect every single time. So what they do is run a whole battery of tests to create a unique fingerprint for every single batch of resin. They use a technique called HPLC to basically check the recipe, making sure every single chemical is there in the exact right amount. Then they use rheology to measure exactly how the resin flows at different temperatures. Is it too thick, too thin? It has to be perfect. And finally, they use DSC, which watches the heat that the resin gives off as it cures, to make absolutely sure the chemical reaction went all the way to the finish line. But once the part is made, there's one last test, one number that matters more than almost any other. It's called the glass transition temperature, or TG for short. This is the exact temperature where that hard, glassy material suddenly turns into a soft, rubbery one. You can think of it as the ultimate speed limit for the material. If you operate the part above its TG, you lose all your stiffness and strength. It's a catastrophic failure. So this one number defines the absolute maximum temperature a part can ever see in service. So, from the basic chemistry all the way to these clever tricks to make them tougher, thermoset resins are truly the secret glue holding our most advanced tech together. Which really just leaves you with one final question to think about. As we push to build even faster planes, even lighter cars, and go even deeper into space, what new kind of super matrix are we going to have to invent next?